Good morning, everyone. Sorry for the late start. Hello, Dajit. Thank you for being here. And thank you, everyone, for joining me again on another live stream on Sunday, where we continue to test the owner's resource in the pet clinic. So we have a lot to do today in very little time, because basically this is or better said, next week I would love to just wrap up the project completely. Well, not completely, because there are things that I would love to keep doing, and obviously there is a lot that I wish I could put into the project, but we at some point we need to wrap up. So this and next week is going to be the last two episodes of the pet clinic. Obviously the project is going to still be public, and eventually I'll just keep adding more stuff to it and sharing the code with you, but for the foreseeable future, no more live streams for the pet clinic. But there will be another live stream with a new project that I will be sharing with you in the next week. I still have some things to prepare, but it's gonna be awesome. So let's get going with the stream, and let me show you what I have for today. So last week we finished with the list of appointments. At least we have a test to make sure that we have a list of appointments, but today I want to focus on only showing the appointments for pets that we own. So we are going to scope that list to only pets that we own. And then we are going to get as many of these tests as we can, so that we don't have a lot much to do next week. So let's get going. Let me move on to, let's get this out of the way. I already have that. Okay, good. I already sent the tweet. So let's go to localhost owner just to see how things are looking. I remember it was, what was it? Arturo, I think. Yep. All right, cool. Appointments is looking good. We have a couple of appointments there. I don't have the avatar for this, but we're going to make a test for that in just a few moments. All right, so let's open the appointment resource test file. I think this is a little too big. Let me zoom out a bit. That's better. Okay, so this is the one for last week. We have a list of appointments. So I'm gonna use this as a base for the new one. So let's create a new test here. Let me copy it from here. Only shows appointments for owned pets. So what do we want to do here? I need to have at least two pets, one that we own and one that we do not. So the one that we own is pretty much, oh, and we need two appointments for those. So I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna use this from the previous test. So that'll give me an appointment for a pet. Well, this pet, do we own this pet? I don't think we do. Let me check the factory real quick. Pet factory. Yeah, this is just a pet without an owner. And that's a good thing that to keep in mind, because when we scope this for this test, we are going to see this specific test pass, but the previous one, which is a list of pets, is going to fail because this one doesn't have an owner. And we'll see that in a moment. Hi, Bugar, how you doing? I'm doing great. Thank you for showing up. Let's see. So yeah, How do we do this? This is, I need two pets. Let's create two pets. So one will have an owner and one, it's okay if we have one without an owner. It's basically the same thing. So let's call it my pet. I'm going to use the pet factory. Oh, sorry. I'm going to use pet factory. And I need to attach a user to this. So I think the method for that is with attached. Let me just check real quick. I always forget about that. Laravel.com documentation, and let's look for factories. Eloquent factories relationship. This is a belongs to the pet and this is not related to factory. This is related to owner. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was a many-to-many relationship. Go back to the model. No, that is a belongs to. Okay, that's cool. So belongs to relationship, that'll be 4. All right. Easy. I thought it was a many-to-many relationship for some reason, but that doesn't make sense. So pet factory 4, and if I'm not mistaken, we already have this owner user available for us, and I don't think there is anything else to it, right? So that'll be my pet, or at least the pet for the owner that is currently logged in. Now I need another pet, which is just going to be a pet factory. I need 2 semicolons. Factory create. Cool. So now I need 2 appointments. This, how do we do this? Let's call this my appointment. Yeah, let's call this my pets. My pet appointment. I know it's not grammatically correct, but appointment. So this will be the, we don't need to do 3. We're going to do one by one. So appointment factory, this will be for my pet. So this goes here, my pet. We're going to create a slot, and it's going to be for a fake clinic and for the only doctor that we have. That's fine. Technically, if the appointment for the pet is made in 2 different clinics, as long as the pet is owned by the user, we can still see it. That will be my pet appointment, and let's create one more. Another appointment, which is going to be pretty much the same, except for the fact that we created for the other pet. Slot clinic doctor create. So I think that's enough for the setup, and now we can do some testing. So basically I want to, just as we did with the list of appointments here, I'm going to mount that component so that I can see table records at least. That's fine, but also I'm going to make sure that I can see my pet's appointment for my pet name, I think the name will be sufficient for this test. We already tested that we can see all of this information for a given pet, so that's fine. For this test, I'm just going to make sure that I can see my pet's name and not the other one. So let's copy this. In this case, we are not working with a collection of appointments. We have two separate ones. So I think assert can see table records is not needed in this case. We're already testing that in the previous one. So I'm going to remove all of these. And I want to make sure that I can see my appointment, my pet appointment, pet name. That'll be the one that I can see. And also I'm going to assert that what was it? Assert missing not the what was it? The negative for not seeing text. Let me find out. Where do I find this? This is in Livewire. Livewire, Laravel.com. Testing views, properties. This is just to assert C. What is the opposite of assert C? Assert missing. I'm gonna go with assert missing text. And this is going to be for the another appointment. Hopefully that's the, if you know this assertion, the opposite for seeing something in the page, let me know. But I think that's the one. Let's run this test first. Right, because call to undefined method pet user, because the relationship is not called user, is called owner. Try that again. Yeah, I was afraid of that. Come on. There's got to be a place where I can find this. Available assertions, maybe. Let's go to pest. pestphp.com. No. I'm pretty sure there is an opposite. Hey Radu, how you doing? I'm pretty sure there's an opposite of this assertion here. Like assert text missing is not the one, and I hate that I don't have code completion for this. Maybe if I try this, maybe this will give me something to work with. Third, nope. Where there is a assert don't see, maybe there is a assert don't see text. Is that what I'm looking for? Yeah, I think that's the one. Get a very big error message. And basically it's failing to assert that the page does not contain the name of the pet that I don't want to see. And that's what I wanted to see. All right. What I wanted to not see. Whatever, you get the idea. So now we need to go in and make sure that the second pet or the second appointment for the pet that we don't own, we can't see that. How do we do this? My first gut feeling is that we should use a model scope. And that model scope will be on the appointment, right? There should be a global scope, actually. Where was the other place where we have global scopes? I think it was the doctor panel. Let me check. It was a doctor's panel, but for the list of appointments. Appointment resource for the doctor. Actually, I want to see the panel configuration for this. So that's in app, filament, doctor, resources. No. Filament, doctor, appointment resource. No, I'm looking for the panel. Ah, right. It's on app providers. Jeez, having a mental breakdown. Filament, doctor panel provider. Okay, here we go. So here we should have a middleware to assign global scopes. Let me check that real quick. We're going to need another one. So we need another middleware that is just going to be for the owner's panel, because I want to have a global scope that is going to be created, that is going to be assigned to the appointment model. But instead of scoping that list of appointments to the doctor, which is what the doctor's panel need, I need to scope the appointments for the owner. Not for the owner, for the owner's pet. Wouldn't it make more sense if I just scope it to the owner, to the currently logged in owner? Because in theory, that will give me all the appointments for my own pets, right? If I'm the owner, I create an appointment for my pet, I should be able to see that and no one else. So yeah, I think it makes more sense not to scope it to the pet, but the owner. Yeah, I think so. So let's create another middleware. Let's call it assign owner global scopes. Let me just take this. I don't need all of it, just this. Is that all I need? Yeah, I think so. So as I said before, let me close a few things here. If I go to the appointment model class, there is a, well, no. I think I'm gonna have to go through pet in this case, because the appointment has a pet. There's no mention of the owner of that pet in the appointment model. So instead of doing this where it belongs to, can I just go query pet? Because the query builder is for the appointment model. The appointment model has a pet relationship, which I can just invoke as a function, and that will allow me to query that pet's relationship and just scope that to the currently logged in user, which is the owner. And the pet model does have an owner relationship, so we'll scope it to that owner. I'm thinking that'll work. So now that we have this, we have to go to the panel configuration for the owner, which is again in app providers, filament owner panel provider. Let's go to middleware and import the assign owner global scopes class. Okay, I think that's all I need. And let's test. That'll give me an option, a hint if I'm going in the right direction. So run previous, fails for what reason? Still showing that. So it's still showing, maybe that query is not working. How do we test this? How about if I do another appointment? This one shouldn't even have an owner. Let's see. Pet owner. Let's try and DD this. Ooh, what did I do? Where did I go? Happens if I do that. Yeah, it's null. How are you showing the second pet's? Yeah, it's gonna show the pet's name. But it shouldn't, based on that scope. Let's see what do we get when we do dd query pet. Don't even get that. So that means that this assign global scopes thing is not running. How come? I think I know why it's not running. Because this is because how we're running the test. We're running the test with livewire test. So we are mounting the component in isolation. And the assign global scopes, it's a middleware. So a middleware works with routes. Meaning that if we don't have a route, if we just have the component is going to load on its own. It's not going to load any middleware because we're not going through the component through a route. So we should test it in that way. Instead of mounting the component, we should go to the route that shows the list of appointments and make sure that we don't see the other. So how did we do that? Let's see, like this. Maybe use a get. Like so. So So we use a get. So we do a get request to appointment resource, get the index page, which is the list of, no. Yeah, in the appointment resource, sorry. In the appointment resource, the index page is the one that shows, it shows the list of pets, list of appointments. But we want to show that on the owner's panel, that's fine. And then make the two assertions. First of all, whenever you do a get, always make sure you assert OK as well. Just to be safe. Because I think I mentioned this before. Sometimes if you don't do this and you assert to see something like the assert see text in this case, and if for some reason this page returns an error, sometimes that error page, that error render page from Laravel is going to contain the text that we are asserting on, giving us a pass, but that pass is false because the page returned a 500 status code instead of a 200. So this will make sure that the page renders okay and I can see the text that I'm asserting on. Let's see if that works. I think I have a DD here. No, I removed it. Okay. Let's go for it. Okay, different error. That's good. App HTTP middleware. Okay, that's as always with me. I forget to import the classes when I'm copy pasting. Import the appointment model. Anything else? Filament. Builder is already here. Is it? No, it's not. Illuminate contracts database. No, Illuminate database eloquent builder. Right? Okay, should be all. See, we're still getting a 500 in return. Call to undefined method. Eloquent builder pet. Okay, this is the thing that we're making progress. We have a different error. But now we're facing this issue where I need to query this by the owner's pet, by the pet's owner. How? Maybe I'm putting the global scope in the wrong place. Maybe it should not be in the appointment. Maybe it should be in the pet itself. Maybe. How about we do that? Instead of appointment, let's use pet. And in that pet, we add a belongs to global scope where the pet belongs to the currently logged in user. I'm hoping that adding a global scope to the pet will also affect the query that is being done in the appointments. That should do it, right? Gotta remove that line later. Let's try that. Okay, different error. Attempt to read property name on no. Which one? Second one. Right. Because this pet doesn't have this appoint. What? Oh, that only means that we have the appointment. The appointment doesn't have a pet. So the global scope works, but the only thing that it's doing is showing me an appointment, but not showing me whose pet that appointment belongs to. Maybe if I do another scope and make sure that I have a relationship on pet. So the pet appointment, the appointment's pet value is not null. How do we make sure that we have where has? Let me check. I'm looking for a way to make sure that a query has a relationship or has something in a relationship. So I think it was called where has. Query relationship existence. Yeah, something like that. Has, in this case, will be pet. So appointment has pet. Let's try that. Like so. Still trying to access that name. Hmm. All right, let me try something else. This didn't work. Go back to appointment here. What happens if I do, what do I get when I do query pet, actually, dd query pet. What happens there? Property pet does not exist in the Eloquent builder. Yeah, it's an Eloquent builder, not a model. The model has the relationship, not the Eloquent builder. Let's go straight to the column then. The appointment does have a pet ID. We just have to pet ID is equal to what? So we have a pet ID in the appointment. We just have to make sure that that pet ID is contained within the pet IDs that the owner has. So probably maybe we can do Let's get the currently logged in user here. Call it owner. And if I do owner pets and just this is owner pets, that should mean this should give me a collection at least, I think. No. Let's do it here. So we should have, how many users do we have? There's one. Where's the, let me get. So that's ID 4. Hello, Sadar. How you doing? Thank you for joining me. This is an ID 4. So that, how many pets does that owner has? So let me get that. Okay. How is it that I don't have that? Does that user doesn't have any pets? Apparently not. Okay. Let's give it a pet for now. I just want to make sure that the query that I'm doing on the test is correct, and for that I need to actually use the panel. I think I had a pet picture somewhere here. Pets. Okay, that's not good. Why can't I see my own pets? Huh, I didn't choose the owner? Or maybe just it doesn't have an option to choose the owner here? It doesn't. Okay, that's something I have to do then. Okay. So let's just assign that real quick. So pet. So this is what's happening. I am something to fix in the near future. Whenever we create a pet in the owners panel, it creates the pets without the owner. It should, before saving that pet, should have that pet's owner to be automatically assigned, and it's not doing that. Right now I'm just trying to get through this test. So I'm going to get that pet out. The one that I just created. And I'm going to say pet owner ID equals 4, which is the only other owner that we have. And then pet save. Cool. Now if we run this again, still no. Jeez. This doesn't make sense. Yeah. There's something wrong with this relationship. Oh, and my typing skills. Is there not an inverse relationship from user to pets? That doesn't make sense. There isn't. Oh my god. Okay, that answers a lot of questions. So public function pets, and that reminds me of something that we have been, well, we're not going to cover this today, but we're testing resources, but we are not testing that the models, we're not testing the models in this case. That would have saved me a lot of time, because I would have made a test, I should have made a test that asserted that the pets relationship existed, instead of just going through that whole process of elimination. Maybe we can try and do maybe next week, just real quick for next week, or maybe this Wednesday, I can prepare a small test where we can test a model and make sure that the relationship in a model exists. So this pets has many. Has many pet class, and the foreign key is owner ID. So this owner ID is the name of the column in the pets table that identifies the relationship. So let's see if when I do this again, there you go. Now Let's get back on track with the test. Assign global scopes. Now this should give me something. Let's try the original plan. Now that I know that I have a relationship, instead of using owner here, query. No, wait, I was in the right track before. Can I not do query pet? Query pets. No. Again, it's a builder, not a model. So let's try add IDs like this. Filament user pets lock D. So that'll give me an array of the pet IDs that the user owns. And then I can do where in pet ID, pet IDs, something like that. Remove this. Okay, finally. So just to sum up, what I'm doing here is I'm creating a global scope, and in that global scope, I'm getting the pet IDs of the user that is currently logged in, the owner that is currently logged in, using Filament Alt user, using the pets relationship, and then just plucking the ID from that. And then on the appointment, I'm doing a where in, just making sure that the pet ID in that appointment is within the pets that the user owns, like so. And now the test is passing. Hi Hamad, how you doing? Thank you for joining me. Guessing there's a little bit of rework here, but we'll worry about that later. I think that's pretty much what I needed. So we can see our own appointment, our own pet name, and then we do not see the pet that doesn't belong to us. Now, that makes that test pass, but if I do this now, if I run, let's run the entire suite. I'm expecting some of the other tests to have failed. Are you still working? No, everything's passing. Why? Oh, okay. So wow, we have quite a bunch. But that's in the pet resource. It renders the edit page. Why is that failing all of a sudden? It can retrieve the pet data for edit, blah, 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 blah. There's a few things that we need to fix, apparently. Let's try this one first. Well, looks like we are going to spend the rest of the session fixing the tests that are not passing. It renders, this is in the pet resource test. Let me close a few things first. Pet resource test. It renders the edit page. Oh, disk avatars does not have a configured driver. What's going on here? Okay. This has something to do with the test that we did for the upload image. And the fact is that we introduced this new setting in the php.xml file system disk value avatars. And on the edit page, it's trying to access that disk, but it doesn't exist. So quick fix. Quick fix will be to just globally define the disk for the test as avatars. Because if I do this here, storage, even though I'm not going to use it, it's going to be confusing. Disk. Wait. Where's the other place that I'm using that disk? Here. Storage fake, sorry. So storage fake avatars. Yeah, I'm guessing just so I don't have to set this up in all of my tests that are failing, because I'm guessing that's pretty much the whole problem. I'm gonna have to move this to the setup maybe. So let's take this fake storage and let's move it to the before each. Run the test again. Should be passing still. Let's run the entire suite now. See how many are still failing. I don't like the fact that this is kind of slow. 1.59 seconds. It's way too much. But the good news is everything was passing. That was the entire problem. We have a couple of bottlenecks in these two tests, mainly in the listing of records and the uploading of images. Oh, there's a bunch here too. So yeah, there's a bit of optimization that needs doing, but well, We can only do so much. Back to the appointment resource test. I'm curious about this one. It can show a list of appointments, but those pets don't have an owner. Should not be able to see those appointments. How am I still getting those if I'm applying a global scope? That is very strange. Oh, again. So yeah, that's kind of the problem. Again, the reason why I can see all of the records is because I'm using livewire test instead of get, because the component loads in isolation. There is no middleware involved, there is no request involved, so the global scopes are never applied. So I guess I can trust it as long as I keep this test here. So this one is just to make sure that I can show a list of appointments on the component itself. This one is for making sure that that list is scoped to only the pets that I own. So those two can pass independent of each other. So I think it's fine. I can always go in and change this to a get instead of a livewire, but I guess if we have the two tests together, it's testing what I need. So I'm gonna mark that as completed. And let's move on to showing pet avatars. So I think that's easy enough. All I need to do is do something similar to this, but instead of using assert C text, I can just use assert C, which focuses not on the text rendered on the page, but the code of the page itself. So let me just take this as a base, create a new test. I'm going to create just one appointment for just one pet. And on that, all I want to know, or all I want to do, is assert C, and that's it. And what I want to see is the, I guess I should have the pet real quick in the factory, in the pet factory. I'm using fake image. Okay. Should be able to see the appointment pet avatar. And that's the .png file that I'm creating. I'm assuming it's a PNG. But as long as I can see that image in the page, then that is cool. That is all right. And again, the reason I'm not using src text is because I'm not displaying the text file. I'm not displaying the image name in the page. I'm displaying the image name in an image tag in the HTML. So that's why src is the option to use instead of src text. Src text is the page is the text rendered on the page, the final result, what the user can see. src focuses on the entire page code, the HTML behind it. And that's failing, of course. I don't like the fact that it's using TMP. That's just the nature of the fake storage, I guess. So in theory, all I should do in this case is go to the appointment resource and add in the table, let's add another column. It's going to be an image column. Why is rounded, deprecated? Circular, that's the new one. We need the disk again in this case. So we need a before each. We already have it, but we just need to mount the fake disk. So storage, fake, avatars. Still failing. Again, it's looking for TMP. In this whole thing, hi, how you doing? Thank you for joining me. I'm still worried that I don't have any... Oh, pets. You have to go to pets. There is no appointments. Maybe the whole problem is the factory. What do I get when I do fake image? Yeah, that's pretty much the problem. What if instead of using fake image, just to simplify things, I use avatar.png? Still doesn't work. Hmm. I'm wondering what has been. Let me check the appointment resource. Table. Yeah. Image column 8-bit avatar. Label circular. It is the exact same thing that I'm doing here, minus the label. Hello, Jonathan. Thank you for joining me. I'm just struggling here with a very simple test of an image column. Hmm. I'm just scouring through this entire HTML to just see if I can find the pet name. This is created. Yeah, I can't see anything. Let me simplify things a bit. Moving to the appointment resource and just load that column. I know it's gonna break another test, but I just want to see what is rendered. Wasting so much time. What is happening? Yeah, this is the image right here. This is a div class and a div class. There is no source for it. Here's the image source, and it's coming up empty. Why? Hmm. Yeah, I don't understand because this has a value. So the pet is created, the pet factory creates the pet with an image. But when I use it on the table, first of all, it's trying to use the local disk. So I'm guessing that might be part of a problem. Is the disk part of the problem? What happens if I disable that just for this test real quick? See what happens. I don't think that's gonna make any difference, but I just want to try it. Still failing. Oh boy. Nothing wrong with the table. Yeah, I'm running out of ideas. This form is empty. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure this one out off screen. I just don't understand why the table is not showing the pet image, even though the pet has an image or an avatar in it, but it's coming up empty at the end of the table. So yeah, I don't want to waste more time. We have more things to do. Appointment resource test. We're going to save that for later. I broke something. What happened? Ah, yeah. Duh. Okay, what's the next one? Hopefully, yeah, this one should be easier because, yeah, we don't have a form to create an appointment yet. Okay, everything is passing. If I'm not mistaken, we should have another test that is very similar to the one that I want to create now. List a pet, shows pets, create pet. Should be something similar to this, but for appointments. So let's grab this appointments definition from here. Paste it here. We only need one for one pet, for one slot, for one clinic. And let's do make in this case. Don't need a pet, I don't think. And we are going to liveware test the resource pages, not the pet resource, the appointment resource. Pages, create appointment, filling the name. What is that? What do we need in this case for the form? Let me get something for reference. It's going to be similar to the one in admin. So we need the pet, the clinic. Oof, what am I doing? Not here. Let me clear this. So appointment pet ID. This will be for pet. What's the other one? Clinic. So clinic appointment. What did we have for clinic here? Clinic ID, right? Pet ID, clinic ID, slot ID. Easier to just reference the model instead of going all over the place. Pet clinic doctor slot. What else? I think the date. Pet slot clinic doctor. Pet slot clinic doctor. Date, description, and status. Status, do we need to say? Might as well. So date. Do we have a date in the appointment factory already? I believe we do. No, we don't. Okay, so we create a new appointment in memory. Fill the form in the create appointment page with the pet, the clinic, the doctor, the slot, the date, the description, and the status all coming from the factory. We call the create event and assert that the form has no errors, and then we just need to assert that the database has on the too much on the appointment class, and we just want to look for pretty much all of this. Just change the few keys. So this would be pet ID, clinic ID, doctor ID. I don't think there is a doctor ID in this form. There is, isn't there? Yeah, there is. Okay. Slot ID, date, description, and status. Let's see how many errors we get. Integrity constraint violation, appointments. Appointments description. I thought that was in the factory, wasn't it? Appointment factory. Description, yeah. Oh, but yeah, I know what the problem is. There is no form. That's the problem. So we need a form field for the description first. So close this. Appointment resource for the owner. Go to the form. And let's start with the description. I don't know if I should speed run this one. After all, we have a form already created in the admin. It'll be a little bit of cheating, but we're pressed for time. So appointment resource. Why don't we just grab it all? Yeah, the whole thing. Let's review. We have a form, we have a bunch of code that we didn't have before. What happens if I run the test now? A bunch of things that I haven't imported, of course, starting with role. From the top. Start with pet. Avatar options. Set. Get user. Probably builder. Carbon. Get set. HTML string. Obviously the role here. Get user carbon, that's slot. Did I do slot already? Probably. Get appointment status. Run again. HTML string, right. Component has errors, pet ID. Fail asserting that false is true. Okay. So it's failing on this part. How are we calling that? pet ID, not pet. Integrity constraint violation. What are we failing on? Appointment slot ID. Pet, clinic, date, doctor, description updated, created ad. It's not passing it in, probably because I named it wrong in the form. It's clinic ID, date, doctor, slot ID. Okay. Now still complaining about slot ID. Why? It's using pet ID, clinic ID, date, doctor ID, description, updated ad. It's not passing the slot ID. But I'm pretty sure that's mass assignable. Yeah, it is. Hmm. Let's examine what we have before we fill it in. It's probably because this is no. Let's see. No, there it is. Slot ID. What's going on? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not assigning me. It's not giving me the slot ID for the appointment. At least it's not putting it in the form, even though we have an input for it in the form. I hate to leave everything in this state. Yeah, it's a bit of a rocky session today. A lot of things that I don't understand why they're happening. Testing is harder than it looks sometimes. I know it works. It works on the admin side. Testing it is the hard part. I'm guessing since we have a bunch of custom behavior for this form, for example, in the doctor, whenever we select a doctor, hi Ivan, how you doing? Whenever we select a doctor, that's going to affect what slots we have. It's going to set it as null after we set the doctor, and then we have to set the slot ID. So one option would be to just strip all of the custom behavior. That's going to take some time. And just go with simple inputs. See if that creates the record. I guess my problem was I tried to jump ahead because of time, and now that's going to actually delay me. That's actually setting me back. So that's a lesson for everyone, for me included. By the way, will we have Liveware LMS stream? Not tomorrow. That's on Wednesdays, but yeah, we will. I'm gonna keep that on Wednesdays, 9:30 p.m. But the problem is that this one, I'm gonna have to work a little bit off camera, and just for the sake of time. And I'm going to work on these two tests here, the avatars and the create appointment, so that for the next week I can show the solution of those real quick, which should be something pretty simple. It's something I probably I'm not seeing right now, but it'll be a lot easier if I can just have those ready for next week and make sure that all of these will be covered next week. And I promise that it will go a lot smoother, so that next week we can just get all of these tests passing, and maybe we could call it a wrap. But yeah, again, I apologize for the rocky stream. It's like I said, testing is hard sometimes, but that's just part of the process. I will show the solution to these tests, at least these two that I worked on today, and get the other ones ready so that we can probably put a pin on everything and put an end to the pet cleaning next week, hopefully. And I promise that it will be a lot more focused on the next Sunday, so that for the next stream, again, I have something planned for the next project, and it's gonna be good. I promise. Lots of promises. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. I think I'm gonna leave it here for now, and If you enjoy the stream, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of the new streams on Wednesday and following week. And yeah, let's just leave it here. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.